Colts at Patriots. Marco, who do you like and why do you like them?
I like Indianapolis. Why do I like them? Because I'm going to go against this freaking New England team until I beat them. They have been my nemesis this year.
So let's break that down, because one of the keys to being a batter is learning from your mistakes. So what do you think? What have you been fading them or playing on them, or just going back and forth and just zigging it?
I've had a few games. I've had some games with them, but I've had more games against them. And actually, two of my best bets that I've lost this year on the show have been going against New England. And in both of those games, New England was outgained, but they managed to win. Last week, I did go against them with Pittsburgh, and I made one error when I go back and look at how I lost the game. What I did is I dismissed the fact that New England was coming off such an embarrassing loss to Cleveland.
Which is, in general, is important in the NFL. Belichick has excelled at that.
Absolutely, and that was the one thing that I didn't put enough credence on. But still, this team is not as good as their record indicates. I'm going to just battle that to the season's end, but they're constantly outgained. Last week they weren't, but they were put in a situation last week that their defense wasn't exposed because the Steelers never got a chance to attack their defense. Ben Roethlisberger was under attack the whole game. I haven't seen a game where he has had that many hits and hurries and sacks as he did last week against New England, and that's got to be, a result of the injury to, Starks.
All right, so you're saying Pittsburgh, weak offensive line, especially in that game. I also believe another reason, so that's one reason maybe the Pats win isn't quite as impressive. Second reason is ultra motivated off of the embarrassment against the Browns. And maybe the next reason was a point I made is Brady and the Pats played very well against the Steelers scheme defensively. I mean, the Steelers have a great defense typically, but Brady's like 6-1, and that 3-4 is something he's never had trouble with. So I would agree the Pats certainly aren't as good as they looked against the Steelers. And since that was a primetime game, it kind of makes sense that you want to fade against that performance. What do you think of this Colts team, especially on the injury side?
Well, the Colts have been battling the injuries all year, and, they're still finding ways to win the ball games. I mean, Peyton Manning, he's a magician, it seems, sometimes that they can be down and they find a way in the fourth quarter to win. The public's going to look at this game, and I call it the ABC factor, and I'm not talking the network. I'm talking about when handicappers look at comparable teams that they played. And these two teams, Indianapolis and New England, there's kind of a little circle. They're going to look at the fact that New England just pounded Pittsburgh. They're going to look that Cincinnati just gave Indianapolis a lot of trouble. Pittsburgh beat Cincinnati. So if Pittsburgh could beat a team that Indianapolis struggled with and New England just drilled Pittsburgh, it makes it look on the surface.
No, so I agree with you. Is the public perceptions on the Pats? What's the latest line?
This line, it opened at 3 New England, and it's ticked up a half a point to 3.5.
Okay, so you're saying that New England's the better team. I tend to agree with you. The public perceptions on the Pats. I've got one question: can the Colts deliver though? Because if the Colts can, then both teams are overrated. I got some stats saying that when it's a big game, and again, this is a little different than Manning early in his career. If it's a big game, you want to bet Manning. We all know how he does on prime time, though this isn't officially a primetime game. It's got the feel of that. But
it is the national feed.
Yeah, but when I say primetime, it's a night, Sunday night or Monday night or Thursday night game. Indy plays very well on the road, 12-4-2 ATS on the road. So they've only lost, 4 of 18 games on the road. And they play very well against winning teams. And again, oftentimes that's going to be a primetime game. 9-1-2 ATS against winning teams. Also in this series, which they've been battling heads now with Belichick against the Colts for a long time, the underdog, 11-3-2. So to me, the only thing that causes me any pause with the Colts is, are they just so injured that they've been holding it together with copper wire and duct tape, and Belichick is going to expose them?
That's, a valid point. I'm going to spin it to the other way, is what I said.
And that's not my point. I don't like the Pats. That's the only question mark that causes me not to really like the Colts.
point taken. What I opened this up with when I said the one thing that I didn't put enough credence in was, how does New England react after, the embarrassing loss? I should have put more credence in them bouncing back. But on the same token, I can say here now, are they ripe for a little bit of a letdown after such a satisfying win on a primetime game after playing back-to-back road games, which one was against, one of your assistants, Mangini in Cleveland, and then Pittsburgh, which at that point...
No, but hold on a second. You made the point last week that the Browns spot was the perfect spot for a letdown. So let's not say there's been 2 intense games in a row.
No, but I mean, playing on the road, that there was something there.
So you're saying just the physical fatigue of 2 straight road games.
Right, coming back home, and that was one thing.
It's hard to believe they're going to be flat against the Colts, but all right, give us your projection.
I've got Indianapolis pulling the upset. I think it will be a high-scoring game. I think we're going to see that New England defense get exposed this week, that Manning's going to find a way. I have Indianapolis 31-24.
It's quite a difference from the point spread.
It is.
Was this almost your best bet?
To be honest with you, it was very close, other than the fact that I'm a little bit superstitious and I've lost 2 best bets going against New England, and I went with the college game.
Now it's your turn to continue the conversation in the comment section with Marco and me. And next up, we'll be talking about the Sunday night football game, Giants at Eagles.